This competency-based curriculum is here to stay in my life. It is the most transformative thing I have seen. It is the most transformative thing I have seen. I used to be worried that our teachers will compromise it. Dr. David Njegere has just shown you that even the teachers love it. Because in the many classrooms that I have been, even if I sit in a classroom for just half an hour, I'm able to see which child is more active than the other. Putting his hand 10 times, although he will only be called once, another one will be able to put once. They enjoy what they are doing. It is true that there are challenges. Why don't you bring those challenges in a manner that we can accept that you are not doing it for other issues?
A lot of people, actually almost all of us, have been comparing CBC with 844. Again, this is something I've explained before. 844 is a structure. It is a structure of learning. CBC is a conceptual principle of teaching and learning. That means, even if you Google CBE today, it will give you specific tenets and characteristics of what it entails. It will tell you what the learner is supposed to do. It will tell you what the teacher is supposed to do. It will tell you what the parent is supposed to do. Now, let's go back. 844. What is the conceptual principles of teaching and learning of 844? Because 844 is a structure. We can compare 844 with the 2633. Because those are structures. Before you come to a structure, you have the principles of teaching and learning. You look at them and then you say, which vehicle can they fit in better? Then you say, well, this can fit in 8 for primary, 4 secondary, 4 university. And you go to the principles of teaching and learning on CBC, then you check which structure can it fit in. Now, I can ask all of us today, what is the conceptual principle of teaching and learning of 844? If you go to literature, first of all, look at the characteristics. You will see that it's teacher-centered. You will see that it's examinations-oriented. You can see that it puts more emphasis on cognitive learning and ignores other domains, ethics, values, social behavior. Then now, relate that and check where it fits. The first thing you will see is it's a traditional approach to teaching that whose time is outdated. So when I see people saying, let's move back from CBC to 844, I get confused. Okay, let's say, let's move back from 2633 to 844. Is that what we are saying? Or we go to the conceptual framework, change our principles of teaching and learning, and go to the traditional ones. So when you see people saying CBC 844, you can't compare a structure with a conceptual framework.
I request everybody to even look back to our traditional history of education, the traditional education in Africa and other traditional societies, and look at what was the underlying philosophy. They all had underlying philosophies, even if they were not written. If you care to find, you will find that. And that's why there was even formal education for training warriors, formal education for training medicine people. There were philosophies underlying, and also the philosophy of participation, observation, and imitation. And that is what we are saying, that children will learn practically when they see what their teachers are doing with them, what their parents are doing with them, what the community is doing, including even aspects of values. It is through observation, participation, and imitation of the good that can sustain a society.
I should say here, ladies and gentlemen, that I come from where the rubber meets the road. That is where everybody is talking out there, but where the CBC is where it comes from. And may I make it clear here that more than ever before, if today, Madam Fatuma, if today an assessment is done, if there is a study where people would go out to look for the happiness index of children in primary schools, may I tell you, today you will get our Kenyan children from PP1 to grade 5, they will have the highest happiness index. This has been brought about by this competence-based curriculum, which they are enjoying. Unlike there before, where they were being glued onto chairs throughout the day, where you would get children starting to doze. But now, because of the kind of engagements they are having with their teachers, they have grown to be a very happy lot.
In the last few days, the media has been highlighting concerns raised on the system of learning, especially by parents. Most of the complaints that have come up are to do with the high cost of implementing the CBC. What is in need for those who cannot afford it? In the same breath, please allow me now to speak as a mother. Professor Fatuma Chege, you raised this. My daughter is 10 years old and is in grade 4. And so far, I have experienced both negative and positive experiences on the system of learning. On the bright side, the level of creativity has blown me away. Last week, for example, they were asked to use different materials to come up with the digestive system and also the mouth. She used plasticine, papers, threads, and food color to come up with these models. She came home very happy, saying that the models she used generated, were used to demonstrate to her classmates on the topic.
Parents and guardians have a critical role to play in educating their children, and they must take this role. They must grab it. Nobody, not even a teacher, can replace a parent's role and responsibility. KICD has done its part in terms of coming up with parental guidelines. The Parents Association is doing and will continue to do its part in terms of using various fora, such as parents' engagements in schools, to ensure that discussions go on, where there are illogical expectations of parents. I think parents need to be empowered to go have discussions with the schools. That what you are asking is beyond us. But we'd also like to ask us and members at large to also desist from a disempowering talk. You will hear many people saying that how will an illiterate parent do this and that? Illiteracy is not synonymous with stupidity. An illiterate parent is also able to do something, to listen to their child, to support their child, to show interest. These are important determinants also for success. So we need to have, I think, a conversation that is empowering, that acknowledges that each person has an ability to do something, and that is the pillar of parental empowerment and engagement. Even a skilled person can need to be empowered. So empowerment is not only the result of a few people.
It's important for us to understand that when you are conceptualizing and designing a curriculum, you do not necessarily develop a philosophy. Just like you do not develop theories, KICD or the ministry cannot sit down and develop a theory or develop philosophies. What you do in your conceptualization is to identify the philosophies or the theories that have the principles that you pick and use in your conceptualization. The vision says that every child will be engaged and empowered. Very important. If you look at the current education that we are running, there are so many children who are not engaged and who are not empowered at the end of basic education. And then the mission says that we will nurture every learner's potential, which means that we don't want a situation where any child exits from basic education without having been empowered with competencies that they can apply in national development. So I want to invite the discourse to go in that direction of looking at what we have in terms of the existing philosophies and how we have picked those principles and applied them in conceptualizing these reforms.